What that means is this department is increasingly placed in the position by government of making very bad decisions, and I think it is important to understand the root causes of these issues, which do go back some years. But if we deal with the lived impacts on our community now, we can see that the department has been put in a position where it has made decisions with the recent introduction of the automated debt recovery program to remove or reduce the role of DHS staff in that crucial hands-on element of the work, investigating suspected overpayments and advising on appropriate debt recovery action. The notion that our community expects people should get what they're entitled to and no more is not a new one or a new part of this department's work. But there is a very serious problem here. This new approach, which removes and reduces human oversight of suspected overpayments and reduces employees' roles at a range of elements of the system, has been an absolute disaster for many Centrelink users, but also for the workers charged with implementing a system they know to be deeply flawed and unfair. Hundreds of thousands of Australians, as you've heard, have received frightening and in some cases inaccurate debt notices and then faced enormous difficulties trying to get in touch with DHS staff. Of course, at the other end, employees are unable to provide service of the sort that they are committed to do and are also facing an increasing level of client aggression and frustration. So how did it come to this? Most of the major problems facing DHS begin with a lack of funding and resources, and without proper funding, the agency loses the capacity to make good policy decisions, decide effective programs and ensure the right benefit goes to the right person at the right time and for the right amount. DHS has faced a triple whammy of funding cuts, starting under successive governments, and these do go back to Labor government decisions on efficiency dividends that have rolled then into the decisions of the Abbott and Turnbull government. Service delivery agencies are hit hardest by a number of elements of budget funding processes, and I would note no government ever stood up and said we'd like to cut 5,000 jobs from the Department of Human Services and we think that's a good idea. It's simply the result of a number of decisions put together. So-called efficiency dividends hit service delivery agencies harder. Other whole-of-service savings measures, many emanating out of the Department of Finance, also generally hit service delivery agencies harder because they do not have the scope of policy agencies around program funding. And in DHS's specific case, the machinery of government changes that resulted in the creation of this mega agency and the service delivery reform initiatives included the classic Department of Finance mistake where you very clearly identify the savings that will supposedly come out of consolidation and these changes, take those up front and then see what happens. Well, in this case, those impacts have resulted in DHS being an agency that is absolutely struggling. And I note the Secretary herself said cutting an agency by 10% in 18 months has created no little challenge, which was at one point the impact of those combined three different elements of savings measures. So if we want to look at where robo-debt has come from, it is a fairly obvious consequence of a department that no longer has the resources to provide effective services. And the decision to replace the human oversight of debt recovery with automated data matching was absolutely based on a desire and an imperative to save money. It has, of course, proven to be a classic false economy and has created costly reverse workflows where staff are taken offline to deal with complex and difficult disputes over incorrectly raised automated debts. Sadly, I would suggest in the last few years, one of the things that DHS has become an expert at is band-aid solutions. As it lurched from one crisis to the next, this is simply the largest of those. As a result, the department tries to plug the gap in those services with casual staff who do not have access to the appropriate training, who are deeply frustrated that they cannot do the work, and who are largely used to answer the phone, redirect customer inquiries, which allows the department to keep its call statistics lower. Someone's clicked on it, they can't fix the problem, but it's going through to another line and that's good enough. That sort of gaming the system is the problem that this department is the situation this department is being put in. So our members believe that our social security service system must be robust, sensitive and flexible enough to deal with underpayments, overpayments and other changes in people's lives in a way that ensures the integrity of Commonwealth funds and the dignity of customers. That includes dealing with the reality of an economy and a workforce where people come in and out of work, employers come and go, there is an increasing level of insecure employment, casual contract, labour and so on. It's a complex situation that people are in, and systems like this have got to deal with that. At the same time, it is important we note there has been a disturbing cultural shift imposed on Centrelink and the Department of Human Services. It has increasingly gone from an agency focused on treating people like people to one that focuses on treating people as numbers in a data set and at doing the minimum possible. It's also an agency that more than most ignores or discards the input of staff in relation to crucial work design and staffing issues, that has a vicious and draconian approach to staff speaking out internally and externally. I would note this is possibly the only Senate inquiry in the last 3 years where CPSU representatives have appeared without bringing delegates or rank and file workplace representatives. In this case, we felt that it was simply too difficult to ask those people to attend because of the circumstances and the pressure that is in place in this department at this time. And we will be putting their feedback further in a written submission, but this is an unusual step for the CPSU. The same my way or the highway attitude that created the Robo-Debt debacle has caused major problems elsewhere, including the agency's hopelessly stalled enterprise bargaining situation, where DHS has again taken a more negative and unfortunate approach on government policy, significantly causing concerns for working women in that department, and meaning that bargaining is impressively more mired in this agency than across the rest of the Commonwealth public sector, which is really quite a high bar after a 3-year industrial dispute. Crucially, one of the issues still in dispute in this agency is the need for robust pre-decision consultation processes where people who do the work in areas such as compliance can actually have a better voice to inform senior management on what will and won't work at the front line. And those sorts of issues are very important to the people who work in this agency. So we are calling for a number of things to happen. The Turnbull government must immediately suspend the online compliance program and actually put the real fixes in place so that this no longer hurts thousands of Australians. There needs to be immediate action and a serious budget solution to reverse the damage done by the combination of multiple cuts to the Department of Human Services, including the reduction of 5,000 permanent jobs. Any new approach should ensure properly resourced human oversight so the agency can be confident that the overpayments it identifies and debts it raises are legitimate and accurate. DHS must immediately be put in a position by government to convert casual workers, of which there are now thousands, to permanent roles with access to effective training and to be able to provide a genuine full range of services and support to customers. Finally, the culture in this agency needs to change, and the approach we have seen over recent months in this matter is a damning indictment, but it is also a responsibility of government. We need to deliver a system where the people who work for DHS can deliver great services to the community, and the community can have faith in our social security system and this department's work. Thank you.